So, welcome. I want to go over our agenda. It's kind of an act in 4 parts. We are going to give a brief introduction to what we really mean by school community partnerships, and then we're going to hear from some amazing panelists who are going to share different models for school community partnerships, lots of different methods and different partners involved. Then we're going to go into breakouts, and the breakouts will allow you to choose which topic you're most interested in, and then you'll go into some of the classrooms around here, and then we're all going to be coming back here and having lunch together and kind of committing to action going forward. So that's the overall game plan. And the goals of that are really to help each other connect. I mean, part of this is about actually what you guys are already doing out in the breakfast area, which is talking to each other and getting ideas, right? Part of it is to inspire you. So inspiration could come from our panelists, it could come from each other, it could come from just the environment that we're thinking of. We're also going to actually focus on coming up with some ideas. And those ideas might come here, but they also might evolve as you go back. And then we're really going to be creating. On the walls here, you'll notice that we have these resource maps, right? Part of it is you guys know more about all the resources in our community even than we do, right? So in your packet, there's already resource lists. There's types of organizations to be thinking about, but as we go through the day, we're actually going to ask you guys to add to the resource list because there may be a particular town that, resource in a particular town you want to add. There may be your own organizations that you want to make sure get on the map for these topics, okay? So that is the game plan. So we're kind of crowdsourcing our ideas and our ideas for partners. Before we get going, I just want to go over some community guidelines. How are we going to collaborate with each other? First, choose to be present here and participate fully. Treat everyone with respect. Share the airtime. Be open to new ideas. Silence or put away technology. And bring your humor, have fun. The whole point of this is for us to mix and mingle and get inspired. So I'm just going to ask our facilitators to come up real quick and introduce themselves. Esmilda Abreu, John Arthur, Julian Carrera, Jonathan Sheck, and me, Kirsten. Okay? Just introduce yourself and tell people who you are.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Esmilda Abreu. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs at Pratt Institute. And I come from a family where my grandmother lost 2 of her 7 children to hunger. I also came from a family that put education principle in order to be able to transform our lives. My mother told my grandmother at a time where we could barely eat that she wanted to be a doctor. And my grandmother never said no. She became a general and vascular surgeon. And I've dedicated more than 30 years to education. Today is my passion, and I can't wait to talk to you.
Hi, I'm John Arthur. I'm the director of the Englewood Public Library. I started about 8-9 months ago in Englewood. I was formerly the director of the Metuchen Public Library down near Edison. And we're going to talk about our backgrounds a little bit. I've been an avid library user. This is actually my library card from the Otto Bruns Public Library in Northfield, New Jersey when I was 5 years old. I carry it with me. So obviously, yes, education, crucially important. In my family, we're very much, obviously going to school and doing all our schoolwork was important, but we were huge public library users. We were all about exploring what we were interested in outside of school, whatever we thought that, it didn't matter what we were into, but my dad would take us pretty much every other day and we would just explore whatever we wanted to explore. So I've always believed in public libraries for that reason, because it's not structured at all. It's actually the lack of structure that makes it so great, because you can literally do pretty much whatever you want, within some reason.
Excuse me. I'm Jonathan Schick with Gold Consulting Group. I'm the president of this company where we focus only on nonprofits and we consult for nonprofits. Our offices are in Dallas, Texas, and we opened a Bergen County office only about 2 years ago. So great to be here. Kirsten and I have worked together before. We specialize in two main areas. One is strategic planning, but the other one is what I believe is to be the #1 driver of success in nonprofits, the most overlooked secret, if you will, which is the partnership between the board and the CEO. And that is the title of my book, The Nonprofit Secret, 6 Principles of Successful Board CEO Partnerships. And I'm thrilled to be here with Kirsten and the rest of the facilitators.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Julian Carrera. I am the managing partner for Soup to Nuts Consulting, S2NC. We focus on human resources and technology. I am also a volunteer board member for the Mental Health Clinic of Passaic, serving as the vice president for the last 3 years. Also, I've been a co-facilitator with Reichert Innovation for several years, and I'm looking forward to working with everybody today, helping to generate some great ideas and see how we can provide more value to our community. So, looking forward to it.
And I'm Kirsten Reichert.
The boss.
Okay, so let's just start with some definitions, okay? So what are school community partnerships? First, kind of why is this important? Because research on high-performing schools says that there are some key elements that really need to be consistently present in order to have a really high-performing school. And there's a list of 9 core elements, right? And one of the key ones is that number 9, which is a high level of parent and community involvement. And funny enough, schools have a lot of resources and a lot of attention for the first 8, right? But that 9th is something that they need all of us to help with, right? So that's what we're really focused on here. And if you think about school community partnerships, you need sort of the key definition, and this comes out of the core work, Building School Community Partnerships. And it goes, community involvement is defined as connections between schools and community, individuals, organizations, and businesses that are forged to directly or indirectly promote students' social, emotional, physical, and intellectual development. So that's what we're really focused on here. And I just want to say, give like a little background on the kinds, because actually, when you look at school community partnerships, there's some real variety in what you can see that's out there that supports the schools. There might be a student-centered partnership, family-centered, school-centered, or community-centered. And if you look at that, the student-centered partnership, for example, might be giving out student awards, or it might be about tutors, or it could be about sort of job shadowing, right? If you're thinking about a family-centered partnership, this might be parent workshops, or student parent connections, adult education classes, right? If it's school-centered, it could be about the equipment, like what can we do to upgrade our school technology-wise? How can we support our teachers? How can we think about the infrastructure in the school and provide support to that? And then community-centered is about beautification, about outreach to the community, right? So there might be lots of different ways, and I want you guys to keep all of those ways in mind, because each of your organizations and the organizations that you work with might lend themselves to these differently, right? So when you think about school community partnerships, it's not just school and one organization, right? We want to think about all different kinds of organizations, and in your packet, there is kind of a list of the types of organizations that might be partnering with schools. It could be businesses, it could be education places, it could be all of the things that are on that circle, right? So as you guys are thinking, I want you guys to think about not just one partner, but potentially more partners, right? And then we want to think about sort of a range of complexity, right? So you might have a very simple partnership. It might be really easy, doesn't require that much, right? Or it actually might be a pretty complex and mature partnership where you have like a high level of interaction, and there's actually sort of benefits to the partners and benefits to the schools, right? So as you're listening to our speakers and as you're thinking about ideas over the course of the day, you might think about very simple things, stuff in the middle, or maybe more complex things that need some infrastructure. So let's start with our inspiration. And the idea here is to look at different kinds of models. And here, the background, you guys are going to get a taste of them. They're kind of going to give you a sort of key nuggets about that particular partnership. And then later, in some of the big breakouts, you'll have a chance to ask them some questions and to kind of understand how the partnerships were formed and some key things you should be thinking about as you're thinking about partnerships. So our panelists are Linda DePinto, Mary Swatek, Marian Gurgis, John Arthur, and Suad Gasham, and Becky Sarago. And so we'll just have them pass the mic along and speak to us.